So many people have asked me if I would do an update on these two idiots right here. That I've decided, fine, I'll do one, although I don't like talking about either one of them. Now, the third one we'll get to as well, but it's more of an uplifting story. But all three have committed murder. Let's start off with good old Christopher Watts right here. As we all know, Christopher Watts murdered his wife, his unborn son, and his two daughters. He is going to rot in prison for the rest of his life. He took a plea deal to stop the option of the death penalty. He is currently 36 years old, and if he serves out even 50% of his sentence, he will die in prison. He must serve out all of his sentence because every one of his charges is life without the possibility of parole. He has no means to file an appeal, and I really truly feel sorry for those who have given money to different individuals who think that he has some avenue to appeal. If he thought at the time, along with his legal counsel, that his parents, regardless if they like the outcome or not, and apparently Cindy doesn't, if he thought that there was something wrong with the case, he certainly could have filed, any other means, taken it to trial, make the state prove the case against him. But he gave up all those rights to take the death penalty off the table. And he certainly didn't have to admit an interview with the FBI and the Colorado Bureau of Investigations later on that he did this crime, that he committed it by himself, if he was set up or if there was anyone else involved. He did it, and he's rotting away in the Dodge Correction Center in Wisconsin, where he will be until he dies. And then they will either put him in a pauper's grave there at the penitentiary, or if his parents are alive or someone in his family wants his remains back, he can get them. But what is he doing now? Well, first let's talk about where he is within the Dodge Correction Center. He is in one of three, there are three, 1, 2, and 3 separate protective housing units there at the Dodge Correction Center. In that protective custody unit, they limit all access between protective custody inmates and those who are in general population. General population inmates never, ever go into protective custody housing units for any reason at all. If something breaks, they call a maintenance person from outside of the prison. If something has to be done or supplied to the inside of that area, it's done by guards. It's not done by inmates. Cleaning is done in each housing unit. Each protective custody housing unit is done only by the protective custody housing unit inmates in that actual housing pod. They don't even bring in protective custody inmates from one of the other two. Now, not much is known about his day-to-day life, other than what some inmates who have been released or served time around him there have said. Now, we all know of one in particular inmate who served time with him, who says that Christopher Watts gave him handwritten letters to carry out. On the way out of prison, anything that you take with you out of the prison is searched through. To be able to take a personal handwritten letter from Christopher Watts out of the prison that is signed by Christopher Watts, that this individual says that he has, means that a guard made a grievous error. because the letter could have been, in code. There, it could be the first letter of a bunch of words that says "kill Nicole Kissinger." It could have been that. They don't allow inmates to carry out letters for other inmates, nor will a guard carry out a letter for an inmate. But he says that it happens, but he will not let that anyone authenticate the letter against known handwriting samples of Christopher Watts. So we must discard that letter. Other inmates who have served time in the same housing unit as Christopher Watts who have been released, and there have been 4 individuals. I know of all 4 of them, and I'm not going to release their names because I don't believe that all 4 of them would have any pertinent information about Christopher Watts. Other than those who have spoken publicly, said that Christopher Watts spends most of his time by himself, reading, writing letters to people who he is pen pals with, and that he calls his mother and father twice a week, and that his jail cell is very sparsely, decorated. He doesn't have a lot in the way of personal effects. Now, on top of that, we can also glean there's a reason why he doesn't have personal effects. A news article came out about a year ago about Christopher Watts's personal inventory, his personal items, including his underwear, had been found in the cell of another inmate who was getting released. And this is an official statement from the actual Dodge Correction Center, not some other inmate telling a story, but Dodge Correction Center. We know that that most likely he's been extorted, and that's why the other inmate had these items there. Maybe he was being extorted, or he's paying protection money so he doesn't get his ass kicked. We all want to see him either get his ass kicked, or we want something ill to happen to him in our lifetime, either be persecuted, murdered, something, because every moment that he's here breathing air on our planet is a moment longer than his wife or his 2 beautiful daughters or unborn son, Nico, got. Now, the one last thing I can confirm through Dodge Correction Center about Christopher Watts is he is no longer working any detail at all as of the beginning of the month of March. He may be on what's called a rotational pattern. It means 3 months working, 3 months off, 3 months working, 3 months off, because that way each and every inmate within the actual housing unit gets a job for 3 months, and they can earn 17 cents an hour mopping and cleaning. And that's what he was doing before. No, the stories of him working in the library, there is no library that they're going to allow those in protective custody to. If they want to request a book to read, they request it via a tablet, and then the book is brought to the guards, and then the guards turn it over to the actual inmate. They don't leave their housing unit to go to the library. When they go outside for rec, they go in an enclosed chain link area where other inmates in the prison can't get to them, and they're there for protective custody. The other people who are in his housing unit are there for like crimes like him, and they're also ex-gang members and a couple others, people who have snitched on other inmates where their lives would be in danger if they were ever to be found around non-protective custody inmates. So that is it for Christopher Watts. The idiot in the middle behind my head is Jake Paterson. Maybe you remember Jake Paterson. Jake Paterson is the individual who shot and killed Jamie Kloss's mother and father, kidnapped Jamie and held her captive underneath his bed in his home for, I think, 87 days or 86 days, right in there, letting her out from underneath the bed to, use the bathroom, to shower, and to eat, and then back under the bed she went. But Jamie, got away, one day when he went to town to get supplies, and she ran barefooted without a coat down a snowpack road and was rescued. Jake is currently in New Mexico State Penitentiary. He is 25 years old, and Jake is a troublemaker. He got bounced out of the United States Marine Corps because he couldn't conform to simple rules. He then went from job to job, never being able to listen to the rules or get along with other people, and basically he has been this way his entire life. Jake has gotten into a couple of physical altercations there since he has been moved from Dodge Correction Center to New Mexico State Penitentiary. You can find the videos online of Jake getting his ass kicked. Not once, but twice. There are two separate videos. Each time he has gotten into a physical altercation, he has been moved from one housing unit to another. But before being moved to the next housing unit, he has spent a portion of time. The longest one was 30 days, and the other one was 21 days in segregation, which is a closed cell where you spend 23 hours a day inside your cell. You don't see anybody else at all. But he spent time in segregation before being moved to another housing unit. Jake is not doing anything with his time at all. He's not working. He's not doing anything. He isn't even taking correspondence classes, nothing. He just sits around like a lump on a log, and he would be doing something. He could get a job within the New Mexico State Penitentiary. They have several jobs that inmates, even in protective custody, could do, but he chooses not to because his family is still supporting him from the outside and putting money on his account. Now, I assure you, Christopher Watts is getting the same thing. His mother is going to make sure that Christopher is taken care of until she has no means left or she has passed away. And then his father will do it, whichever goes first. But Jake does nothing. Again, as of November of 2021, he has hired a new lawyer to help him on his appeals process. Unlike Christopher Watts, he has several avenues of appeal still, but Christopher has zero. That is what's going on with the loser behind my head, Jake Paterson. Now to the one that is the opposite side of Christopher Watts. This is Tucker Gales. Tucker Gales committed murder at the age of 15. Who is Tucker and what is the circumstances behind it? Unfortunately, Tucker committed murder, but Tucker had no choice. Tucker grew up in an extraordinarily abusive household. He was abused mentally and physically by his father from the age of 6 months to the age of 15, on and off again. His father would assault him or his mother, and then there would be periods of what you might call a honeymoon period, where his father was apologetic, seemed to be doing the right thing, but then would come after either Tucker or his brother or his mother again. And every time it got bad in their family, it always ended up being around the time that Tucker's father started drinking again. A lifelong history of alcoholism his father had. But on this particular day, Tucker Gales had no choice. His father came home that day in a private rural area that is approximately 2.5 hours from the nearest women's shelter or any place where they could get assistance from authorities at all. He came home that day drunk and in a rage again. And the family knew immediately when he pulled into the long private road that led to the house, hell was about to go down. They tried to lock the doors and keep him out, but that nothing was going to stop this man. If he couldn't get in with his own bare hands and strength, he would have gotten an axe and chopped the door down again. On several occasions in the past, he used either a sledgehammer, a mallet, or an axe to break the handles off of the door to get into the home. On this day, his father was screaming, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you," and some very choice words about his mother. He was getting in because he was upset with her. Tucker knew exactly right then and there, things have got to stop. He can't live the rest of his life like this, in a constant fear of this man coming home and being either in a rage and beating on him, his little brother, or his mother. Tucker ran down the hallway to his bedroom, locked the door, and tried to hide in his room. He tried to remove himself from the circumstances, but Tucker's father would not be stopped. He came in and started beating his mother again, and it got vicious. When his little brother ran out of the house through the back door, Tucker's father started after him. And then Tucker stepped out of his room and locked the door, the back door, so his father couldn't come back in and beat him and beat his mother or kill them both. Tucker armed himself with a .22 caliber Marlin rifle that his father had purchased for Tucker as a, "I'm sorry for beating on you and your mother and brother again" gift. When his father started to gain entry into the home, Tucker raised the rifle and shot once, hitting his father directly in the head and killing him instantly. The reason why I have Tucker on here is because I haven't done an update on this case. As horrific as this crime was. The grand jury in the county where Tucker lives has decided not to indict or charge him with any crime at all, knowing that the police department, child welfare, the county, the state had all failed miserably to protect this family from this man. That, and they believed that it was justified in him firing the one single shot, not necessarily meaning to kill his father, but to stop the advancement of this violent act upon him and his mother and brother. So they will not be charging him. Now, Tucker must try to find some way to put some resemblance of a life together from here on out, and try not to go down the path to become the idiot like his father had become his entire life. And I want to make a side note here for all of those out there who want to type in the comment section on this video that Tucker's mother is responsible or guilty of a crime because she didn't protect Tucker and his brother. Kick rocks. Do it now. Don't even bother to comment, because you have, unless you've been in that situation where domestic violence is directly affecting your life, the emotional abuse alone will stop you from doing even the most protective thing for yourself. Even if you're not physically the person that the rage is directed at, it affects every aspect of your life. Now you add the physical abuse in there. Tucker's mother couldn't leave. She had no vehicle. 2.5 hours away is the nearest women's shelter. They had no phone, no cell phone, no home phone, no family that lived in the area. The only family that lived in the area was the in-laws of, Tucker's dad. They were his family, and they wouldn't help. Every chance that she tried to make a break, to get away, to do anything, they pushed her back. You don't leave. Divorce is not allowed in our family. And they abused her mentally just as much as Tucker's dad. Unless you have been in that situation, you have absolutely no room to talk or to judge. He had to do it. He saved his life. He saved his mother, and he saved his little brother. What would you have had him do? The number on your screen is the national hotline for domestic violence. If someone is hurting you physically or emotionally right now, today, or has in the past, or if they have in the past, they will in the future. The moment a man raises his hand in anger or anything against you, you can guarantee it'll happen again. Call the number on your screen now. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They will get you out of the situation. If you can make the break today. Your life, your children's lives depend on you getting away. Thank you for watching today. And remember, you can survive. Hope is a powerful weapon. Never, ever give up hope.